are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are things going? You can have a seat right here. Okay. So, since last time we met, anything new going on?
Not really. I mean, I went to Miss Hurley's because I was having trouble on the study guide because we have a test today in 7th hour.
Okay.
And she's not going to be here, so I had to go check on a few questions because I didn't get how to do them.
Now, how do you feel about those questions you asked her?
I definitely feel better now. I feel more confident that I'll do better on the test.
Good for you for going and getting that settled before the test, so you'll feel comfortable and more confident. Well, the reason we're here today, and I called you out of class, is because I would like to look at some of our goals that we have for next year. Since you're finishing off 8th grade, going into high school next year, I want to make sure you have a plan in place and answer any questions that you might have about high school, and just start looking at some of those future goals, because I know you have a lot of goals already that you've been thinking about. So we can look at that. We can look at your educational plan that's on Career Cruising and see what maybe even colleges look good for you and might fit your goals that you set for yourself. Sweet. Okay. I do want to mention that this is confidential, so anything, if you want to share more than your educational plan, if you have other things going on, we can do that too today. And anything you say is confidential, but unless you say something that maybe could be harmful to someone else or to yourself, then I have to report that. Okay? So feel free to share anything you're comfortable with. So I guess we'll start off by, well, do you have questions first?
None that I can think of right now.
Oh. So we can log into Career Cruising. I know it might have been a little bit since you've used this site. Okay. Good job. Do you want to tell me a little bit about any times that you've used this website in your past, what you've used it for?
Well, each year for 6th, 7th, 8th, we've come onto this website and we've just answered like 120 questions to find out what career would be the best for us. So I've done it 3 times, and so we've basically gotten it narrowed down to my interests. They're all right there, and so I have about 10, 15 options about what they think is best for me.
Okay. Now, I'm curious. I've known you for the last few years, but I'm curious, how has your plan changed over the years, if it has at all? Because I know you've had a focus for the last few years, but have you changed your ideas about maybe your...
My short-term goals have definitely changed because I've achieved some of them. So some of them has stayed the same though, because each year I do the same thing over and over and over again, like having all A's on my report card. That's just stayed the same for the past ever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now that you mentioned goals, that might be the perfect place for us to start. So, do you know how to get to the goal part? Let's see. So I'm interested. Well, let's talk about your learning styles while we're here. Okay? It says that we're 20% visual, 30% auditory, and 50% tactile. Now, are you familiar with what those terms mean? I know you've done this 3 years, so you probably, the counselors have explained what that means to you.
Actually, we only did this year.
Oh, okay.
We haven't really gone over it many times. Auditory, I know that means hearing. I get really bored when someone's lecturing all the time, and it's kind of hard to stay in the conversation. And then with visual, I feel like it's changed since we took this test because I do better. I do really good with visual, like reading out of the book and finding answers. I do really good with that. And then tactile, that's definitely my most, because I learned the best with having someone in front of me that I can definitely interact with that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of a class or a time when you've learned a skill using those tactile skills?
Definitely in here, like we are really hands-on, and with the cooking labs and with the baby and the egg baby, all those lessons, they definitely are tactile.
Good. Well, that's nice to hear. But how about let's look at your career goals that align with your plan, and let's see how that might relate. Let's look at some of those careers. Oh, yeah, let's look at those goals while we're here. That was what I was looking for. So, this is this year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to tell me a little bit about your short-term goal you had this year?
Well, like I said before, the all is on the report card, and I definitely, it says on here that I wanted to develop my singing skills this year, and I definitely have. I mean, I just auditioned for the Phantom of the Opera, and I'm going to be auditioning next Monday to get into an advanced singing group.
At the high school?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then I've definitely set my expectations high for my siblings. And my sister, she's kind of has a hard time learning. She has ADD. And she actually has to have tutoring this summer. But she has trouble with reading and writing and math. And I feel like her skills are because they're teaching her without tactile, because she likes to have hands-on because of that ADD. That's what she wants. She needs something in front of her to touch and to help her feel learn, instead of having someone speaking to her and writing it on the board. I feel like that's not.
How old is your sister?
She is 7. She just turned 8, actually.
And you like working with children, right?
Yes, I do.
So do you ever help her?
I do. She has to go on this website. It's called Raz Kids, and it's a reading site where she picks a book and they read it to her. Then she reads it aloud, and then she has 10 questions on it. So I help her with that almost every night. My mom helps with the math, because it's kind of hard to second off math when I have my advanced math class.
Yeah.
But she gets stressed out very, very easily, so it's kind of frustrating sometimes when she gets mad and she starts like complaining.
Is it frustrating for you or for her? Is that what you mean by frustrated?
Yes, she gets a little bit frustrated with me as I'm trying to help her, because she doesn't understand that I'm trying to help her and not be, I might be stern, but I'm not trying to be rude in any way, because I care for her and I want her to have the best.
So how do you deal with that frustration? What are
When she has frustration, I give her like a 5-minute break, because she likes watching YouTube videos. So she goes on her iPad and she just watches a 5-minute video, and then we come back to it later.
Awesome. And that seems to work.
Yes.
That's great. Okay. I can see. Well, let's look at the long-term goals, because I almost, knowing a little bit about you and some of your long-term career goals, it's nice to hear that you're starting to get that experience. I just want to make sure we're taping. That you're getting that experience even in small ways at home and with your family, and maybe even a little outside of that. So, what was the long-term goal that we have?
I want to go to college, get a steady job, and have a nice house, and have a husband, and make a family with him. And then I want to work till my retirement, so that I can have a stable household.
Okay. Those are all great goals. I'm curious about, as far as another short-term goal for next year, maybe we can even add this, since you're able to access this in high school too, a goal that we have for next year, or maybe even you have over the summer, something that you hope to accomplish within, maybe, let's say, the next year.
I definitely want to expand my reading skills because we just took the NWA testing, and because I'm not challenging myself a lot in reading, I might not get into advanced language arts next year, which kind of worries me because I like to set those standards and be up there on the scale, and I really don't want to have to retake this whole class. So I'm actually planning on reading a Sherlock Holmes novel and expanding my genres from fantasy to maybe sci-fi or history or biography, that type of thing.
Okay, that sounds so good that you have a plan and you have a really solid goal for next year. So when do you find out if you're in that advanced
I
class?
find out I should get a letter during the summer.
Okay.
So maybe in August.
So maybe let's do you want to add a goal that maybe what you just told me so we have it in here? Sometimes when you write your goals down, you are more successful and you're able to look back on those. Okay, so end of the year, sometimes we forget our goals over summer. So I just want to add one thing. You said expand my reading to different genres. Do you have, I don't know if you remember, we've talked about SMART goals to make sure they're specific, measurable, you have a time frame on there. Could we make, this is the perfect goal, but I think we should maybe add a couple elements to make it
More specific.
more specific and to know if we accomplish that or not. So maybe having that measure component in there as well. So we could say, well, what do you think? Expand my reading. Is there an amount of pages you want to read or amount of books?
I want to
read this summer?
read one of every genre. this
One.
summer.
So how many genres is that?
So there's sci-fi, there's biography, history, there is realistic fantasy. So that's about 4 that I can
Okay.
count right now.
So we could say to read 4 genres by the end of summer?
Different.
4 different genres by the end of summer? Is that
Yeah.
what you're comfortable with? We want to make sure that's realistic. You can keep that. Okay. Sorry. And that way we know, did we hit our goal or not? That's easy to measure. Perfect. That's right.
Sorry if I don't capitalize any of that.
So do you have any, other than just goals, but anything you're excited about for summer now that we're on that mind frame?
Well, I'm excited that I'll get to move out of my house right now. Because we're already packing and I want to move into a different house because I've been in this house for 14 years.
Wow.
And so I really want to get it to a new place because all my family has moved down south.
Mhm.
So my Nana, she moved to Florida this past summer. And then my Mima, which is my great-grandma,
Mm.
and all my cousins, my great cousins, my great aunts, have all moved down there. And some of them are still yet to move, and they're going to this summer. So it's like, I want to be near family. And so my parents are thinking about going to Georgia, moving down there. They actually have a high school that's based on the arts, and I love singing. So it's like, it'd be perfect. I'd be able to have drama because there isn't really a drama class here anymore. So I'd be able to have drama and choral and all of those advanced classes.
Wow, that's really great. So you're excited about the move, it sounds like.
Yes. I mean, there are some things that I don't really agree with, like I have to leave my friends, my church, all of that kind of stuff. But it's like I only have a few friends, so it'd be easier to connect with a few friends than 10, you know, that type of thing.
So, do a lot of your friends know about this move?
No, only one of them knows, and then one other teacher beside you knows.
Okay. So, are you planning to just keep that private until you know?
Yeah, for sure. Till we know for sure. I mean, we are packing up, but God might take us to a house in Waterford still. You never know. So it's like I want to wait till I'm for sure going to move till I tell a bunch of people that I'm going to move to Georgia.
So the family's still deciding and making
Yes.
those decisions. So that's smart that you're not going to maybe tell people and get them excited or anxious without truly knowing and not being ready yourself. You probably want to wait until that time. 'Cause it's not easy to tell people that big news, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about, I guess we can save this, and then I wanted to look briefly at your careers. Let's see. My career. Oh, wait. Here. My sisters. Here, I'll let you do it. It's okay. Maybe.
There we go.
There we go, found it. Okay, so looking at this list, you said 10. We do have 10 careers that the program suggested for you. So, what on this list would you consider maybe your top 2 or 3 that you feel like, ooh, that really fits my personality, something I would enjoy, knowing you're a tactile learner, and
I like the early childhood educator because I love working with little kids, kind of more than I like working with older kids. And definitely I'd be able to use that tactile with early childhood because that's what they use, that's how they learn, you know,
absolutely.
that type of thing. And then I also want to I'm pretty independent, and so I like to be a leader. So I like the counselor, it says counselor on there. I want to be like that leader, figure, role model type thing.
Very good.
So
That's great.
Counselor.
I'm just going to click on here and maybe check out our education. Let's look at. We'll click on Teacher Education and Guidance Services. And then you said you enjoy younger children. Should we try this?
Yeah.
Teaching. So here we have a list of colleges within Michigan, but however, if you were to move, you can always adapt this to change. If you notice the big map we went to first, you can click on the state. You've mentioned to me before that you want to stay local for those first couple of years to get the general ed classes too, to save money. Smart thinking. Very, very smart thinking. Okay, and then if you notice, this can show you the college. Maybe you are interested in a specific school. You can see if it requires an associate degree, a bachelor's degree. There are graduate programs available.
So what's the difference between an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree?
Good question. So associate's degree is usually a 2-year course, and bachelor's is a 4-year
So
degree.
you have to go to community college for either 4 or...
No, actually you can start taking those general ed classes at the community level, and they are cheaper, and if you're living at home you can save money on room and board as well. And so you can still get those general classes, which will transfer usually to both an associate degree and a bachelor's degree.
Oh, sweet.
And once you look into the school, maybe you have an idea of that university you might want to transfer to eventually, they will tell you what equivalent classes are. And usually, actually I did the same thing. I went to OU around Oakland University my first year, and then transferred to Central, which is a little further away, to stay home, work, and all those general beginning classes all transferred to my Central degree for my education. So that actually works pretty well. So you can see just the options that there are available. Let's say Michigan State University. Really good teaching school. One of the best in the state. This is something that's pretty interesting. You can notice there are the number of applicants, 33,000 a year, around just over. So people that apply to go there, just to apply, and they only accept 21,000.
So that bumps off like 12,000.
Mm-hmm. And as you're in high school, I totally would suggest getting to know your counselor very well, because they will give you those tools to help you to know what classes, schools like this that are only accepting a portion of the applicants, what they're looking for. Is it the accelerated classes? The sometimes you can take dual enrollment, getting credits from college as well. So that's really good idea. What we just did ourselves. But then, and it tells you how many students. So if you are, I know for me, I really liked Michigan State and I planned to go there. Then I realized I went there and visited, too many students for me. It was too big for me. And so I eventually made a transition to a smaller school. I decided before I went. So knowing that about your personality, it's good to know like what you enjoy. And visiting, like I said, you can learn a lot about that. I know that's way in your future, but I can see how that works. So, any questions on the career cruising aspect?
No, I don't think so.
No? Are there any questions about maybe the transition into high school or socially, things that are going on?
Well, I'm kind of nervous about getting into advanced classes. I signed up for honors science and honors social studies. I'm not really good at science, but I wanted to uphold the expectations that I feel my parents have for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to take honors science and social studies.
Mm-hmm.
But they said once you get in, and if it's hard or you fail, you still have to stay in it. You can't switch out of it, which kind of nerves me, because what if I do that? I don't like having D's on my report card. I mean, I don't even like having B's on my report card.
Right. So that's some stress that you're feeling right now?
Yeah.
And that's valid. To not know what to expect necessarily for high school classes and then being the honors. So have you talked to your parents about that a little bit?
Yeah, and they think that I should try it, and if I do fail, they're gonna go to like the counselor, and if the counselor says they can't do anything about it, they're gonna like keep going because Mama Bear comes out and like she wants me to not be upset.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Okay. So do you, and I know they do offer tutoring for high school. and you'll have an academic center, which is kind of like SRT for now. And there are a lot of support systems in place at the high school level too. So being open with that academic teacher too will be helpful for you. And I know that you're a good advocate for yourself when you're feeling that concern, or you are able to ask if you need help. You're not afraid of that, right? And keep that up, because especially if teachers don't know, they might not be able to give you that support unless they know. Especially teachers or teachers that you haven't had for 3 years that don't know you as well. So make sure you just ask for the help if you need it. And I know you work hard, and you do put some pressure on yourself, but I think you'll be really successful. But if the time comes and it's difficult, which it could be, you know you have support around you. So anything else you care to talk about?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming down and taking the time, and looks like you have a lot of exciting things to look forward to, some really great goals in place, and I know I'm going to miss you next year, but you can always come back and visit, and let me know if you need anything in the meantime before the year ends or over the summer. Email me if you need help too.
Thank you.
Okay? And that's all. Thank you. I can even go back to class. I can give you a pass. Let me stop this.